I'm continuing on similar topics as I spoke about yesterday and going deeper to the types of relating. There's two trees of Eden, and this goes a lot into what I had a conversation with my friend about. His name is David Schwetke. He posts a lot on Facebook, and he used to have a YouTube channel. So what is the virus energy? The virus energy is, because it's coronavirus, obviously, we're talking about this topic. And so weak mind, lack of identity. Takes the host, not knowing self. Emptiness lets something take over. Anything. Hides in many things. Challenging identity every day. All we have. Takes over motherboard. Cleaning, clearing, making space, or creating more. Trust is where we get hurt because we have abundance there. So then it's like, oh, now we can't trust anymore. The Tower of Babel is some say it was rocket ships about to discover nuclear fission, like solar power, like the sun energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. When we use energy for selfishness, we're not able to destroy that energy. From that angle, people look like ants. It's like these huge walkways. They say it was like 3 huge towers, even by Nimrod, in the shape of a penis, like a phallus. And then the two Eden trees, the two trees of Eden, is the roots are always changing, never the same. And life is where there's no access, the tree of life, because there's a sword in front, which only God has access to. We have to go through it as godliness. And the sword is always revolving 360 degrees in front, aka a person's thoughts. So knowledge is we can't go near it or eat it or touch it. But Adam sinned to get out of the garden on purpose, out of boredom, because he left his wife and walked the world, which is the snake, which is when the snake went to Chava. And with Adam and Eve, it was a setup. It was like imagination of never. And this is like the idea of it's always something new. How can you get through the sword that's always revolving? Is you have to become something that could be part of it, right? There's 3 levels of pleasure, they say. One is evacuation of body, like a bodily evacuation or release, sexual pleasure, and highest is the alleviation of doubt. And bad leadership is when we decide for others what's dangerous. Knowing and making more damage is worse. So knowing and still making more damage is worse than not knowing and being empty and alone in yourself and not giving people the power to choose good and bad for themselves. It's a type of dependency, and we present the shell over and over and over, thinking people are safer if they're stupid or uninformed because they don't, trust what they saw within their self. So Hasidus protects us from getting burned. It's like a cover for the sun energy by the greater light on a high of, so the false answers are flooding the market, but we stay right above it. We are in the time of Mashiach. We have to not be prevented from being in the light. Parents have to talk to their kids to help them stay up and bright and conscious and feed the brain of the child. And some people are able to compartmentalize and others cling to a false identity. So most of us is, in life is do nothing, let it happen. Because if we're clinging to this false identity, we're getting stuck, or we're getting wrapped up in a little thing, compartmentalizing ourselves. We don't have that inner unity. It's a type of estrangement. It's a lack of knowledge of source. And 90% of success is really just showing up. So showing up fully without having to be too much or too little of anything, versus what takes us away. Because the best interest and encouragement is is when we don't feel like we're being taken advantage of or taken for a ride. And men want to be recognized by a cute, beautiful, sweet girl. So marriage demands one to be creative, because how do you keep it up, right? So subconscious decisions happen in the recesses of the mind. They show us how we are lost, and men need love and intimacy. Even a sacrifice of a best friend, family, or wife happens to be with real love and intimacy. And whatever we do are in balance. Karma exists and will balance out, good or bad, eventually to come back. Because when we give up our soul to not be alone, it means losing everything. We end up going down to doctor them, and we lose our own intuition and ourself. And there's a very thin membrane. It's called the biggest klipa. And a circumcision has a thin and a thick skin. There's I can live with it is the most dangerous, subtle one, versus the critical leverage is the right application of force. That's a surgeon. There's spiritual surgery, I guess. And when we look at people, it's like we're hurting them. When the energy source is compromised by the closest people around them, the loved ones even, is the double gullus. We don't even know that we don't even know. It's ignorance of our own ignorance. We're putting ourselves in harm's way over and over without even realizing it's harmful. So we have to find someone, each of us, because everyone has their own gifts, and we each have to find someone who's a giver, a nurturer, and loves us for who we are, and blows us away. And if we don't shoot higher, we're going to go lower. So our desire to care for someone isn't going to feed us. We have to share with someone when we share with someone who does not reciprocate, it's not going to fill us up, and we're not okay just being the only source of all the nurturing. It lasts, but when they're full of nurture, they go away instead of giving back. So we really do need circuitry. I hope that was interesting for you, and I'll leave it there. I look forward to sharing more tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.